Hi there, it's Bike Tour Mike here, and I'm currently on a bike tour here in France. And I thought I'd just take a quick go through of all the gear that I'm bringing along on this trip. Before I go into the gear, I want to talk a little bit about my bike first. And this is my Kona Sutra. It's actually a steel touring bike, but I've kind of modded it a bit for this bikepacking trip here. So I've taken off the mud guards since we're not supposed to get any rain until maybe the second to last day or so. It's been doing fine so far. Kind of in the between of if I were to bring my Kona Unit X, that might have been better. It's been a real mix of surface here, both like paved and some gravel sections and some single tracks here and there. But this one has been able to tackle everything so far. In my handlebar roll here, I first of all have my tent, which I've already pitched over here. Then I have a inflatable camp pillow, my Nemo Tensor sleeping pad. Here I have some clothes that I wear at camp at night, a t-shirt, a pair of extra socks, never use them, a pair of clean shorts and underwear, of course. In the front here I have my accessory bag, and that is basically things that I need throughout the day. This pouch, for example, contains the mic that I'm using to film these videos. Then I have a spoon to eat, some SD cards, and my phone and sunglasses also stay in this accessory bag. Up here I have two of these field bags. In one of them I store my camera, the one that I'm filming on right now. It's the Sony CVE10. And in this one I have my tripod that I use like 95% of the time. Really simple one. The one that I have this mounted on right now I've only used a couple of times because this one takes like 2 seconds to fold up, and that one is a bit trickier. So as you might be able to see, if I squeeze in here the end of the picture, I'm charging my phone and some other electronics over here, and to do that here in France you need to have one of these adapters. Otherwise, if you just have the normal EU wall socket, you're not going to be able to charge your stuff. So make sure to buy one of these if you go here. So on top of my seat pack I store my flip-flops that I really should put on right now because my feet really needs a rest. And in the seat pack itself, a plethora of different things. I have my camp towel, just a number of toiletries here, wet wipes, haven't used them once. I have some extra legs for the shorts, which I've never used so far. It's been pretty warm. An extra shirt to ride in, some toilet paper, extra pair of clean riding socks that I'll change into tomorrow, water relief. It's a collapsible mug that I use mainly when I'm drinking wine or anything other fancy. Water I just sip from my water bottles. My first aid kit, a bunch of tools. I have a chain breaker, chain link, spoke tool, multi-tool, spare inner tube, patch kit, my Lesion HB pump, which is really great. I've also put a piece of duct tape surrounding it, so I have duct tape if I were to need it later on. Here I have a long sleeve jersey. I haven't worn it down here in France, but I used it on the flight coming over here because it was quite cold. I have a lantern. This might seem a bit bulky, but it's been great during the evenings. I mainly use it on the red function like this, so it doesn't draw that much power, and I think the red one is better for the eyes in the evening. It's not so bright. And lastly but least, I have my sleeping bag in here. This is the Aegis Max Ultra Down sleeping bag. Really compact one that's also budget friendly, and It's been so warm during these nights, so I haven't had any use for a warmer sleeping bag than this one. So if we go over to the other side, here's my helmet. It's a Euro fixture MIPS helmet. And I also have my GoPro mounted to my handlebar here. I don't really film that much with the GoPro mounted to the handlebar. I just have it there because it's easy to access. I learned it from the master himself, Ryan, when I was bikepacking with him a couple of months ago. It's really easy to like just take up the GoPro and don't have to search for it in my bags or anything. Okay, the frame bag here. First of all, I have this big bag of camera batteries and charging cables and stuff. Everything I need to make these videos basically. And I also have a front and a rear light, which I haven't used yet, but I'm assuming I might need it further on here. I have a very light compact bike lock. I just use it when I'm running into the supermarket since I'm by myself. So even though I'm leaving my bike outside for 5 minutes, this usually does the trick. Most of all, I just like scan the area outside of the supermarket and see if it feels strange somehow. Then I just go to another supermarket. I have some snacks here, just some gummy bears and a bag of cashew nuts that's almost empty, which I use to give me energy throughout the day. I have 2 of these battery packs, so I kind of interchange between them. So I charge one during the night and then I charge my electronics off the other one in my tent during the night. So one is always charging at the charging station behind me here. And lastly but least, I have a bottle of chain lube that I use frequently. It's really dry here. The gravel roads have been super dry, so you get a lot of the chain starts to squeak after usually a day. So I just put on some lube in the morning and everything is fine. And then I have these 2 small bags up front here. This one is quite funny. It's my drone that I brought with me, but I haven't been using it one single time yet because there's something wrong with the software on my phone, so I haven't been able to get it working. So there aren't going to be any drone shots from this trip. I'm sorry about that, but that's the fact. So this is basically just a brick that I'm bringing along, which is quite ironic. And let's see what I have in the last bag here. I have a fancy shirt that I'm gonna use tonight. I'm heading out to town and finally get to see some nightlife here in France. Now I'm just gonna head to a restaurant instead of eating at the campground, which I've done like every single night on this trip. I have a somewhat nicer shirt to ride in. I haven't used it yet. Would have been just as fine bringing just 2 shirts. Probably gonna save that for the last day to go out in fashion. I have my rain jacket and I haven't used that either, but we're expecting some rain here in about 3 days or so, so I'm expecting I'm gonna have to need that. And lastly but least, I have some pack tape that's gonna come in handy when I go back home again. And speaking of that, so you might be wondering what this thing that's underneath my seat pack is. And it's called a CTC Plastic Bag, and that's what I'm gonna use when I fly home to Sweden again. I packed my bike in a cardboard bike box coming over here, but I have quite a limited time when I get to Paris, so I don't want to run around and search for a bike box. So that's why I'm bringing this one. And I've basically been using this for the last 5 years and it usually works out fine. So if you're wondering how am I able to get my bike home in this plastic bag, well, I'll explain all about it in the video that's up here in the corner. Otherwise, until next time, have a good one.